We're going to talk about the 4 different seasons on Plum Creek. This first one is summer. Summer is a great time to be on the deck. We live out here. Our friends are getting ready to have dinner. It's going to be a great afternoon on the waterside deck. As we explained earlier, we call it the waterside deck because it's closest to the water. We never could figure out where the front of the house was and the back of the house, so we ended up saying land side, that's nearest the road, and water side, which is nearest the water. You're going to love summer on Plum Creek.
You ready?
I don't know, I thought the last segment really actually, or this, what you guys just did before we got on film was pretty good here. I mean, now you're still...
Watermelon. Oh,
Yes, watermelon.
I thought it was watermelon. Was it watermelon?
Yes, watermelon, not waterman. All right, but this is the other side of the waterside deck, and as you can see, Susan and our friends Sandy and Paul are having a great time, and you will as well. But meanwhile, you notice that drink that's right in the very center. It's a Manhattan. I love Manhattans, and so this ends this segment because in a moment we're going to go down to the pier. But oftentimes we end up here, down on the pier. Summertime is a great time on Plum Creek. It's great for boating. We're only about 8 miles up the Severn River from Annapolis, so it's only a 20-minute cruise down there on the Nuthatch. The end of the pier is great for having dinner. We've even had some brunch down here. But we're going to go out for a cruise, so we'll continue on with our seasonal tour of life on Plum Creek. We said that summer is a wonderful time to be on Plum Creek, and so it is. But fall's not bad either. It's changing the seasons. You can hear the wind in the trees. Leaves are turning yellow and gold. They're falling down, and yes, you do have to rake them up, or you can hire some neighbor boy to do it. The fall's a great time on Plum Creek. Even in the fall, it's a wonderful time to have morning coffee on the waterside deck. The sun comes up, lights the deck, lights the trees. We had rain last night. That in combination of a high tide, you can see that the water's up to the bottom of the trusses of the pier. The Nuthatch is still running. We're probably going to go for a cruise later today. In the last segment, I said that was going to be the last segment about fall on Plum Creek. But today is a beautiful day, possibly the peak day of the peak week on Plum Creek. And besides, you get to see a corner of the detached 2-car garage. So I promise the next segment will be winter on Plum Creek. But right now, enjoy this last balmy day of fall. This is our last segment on fall on Plum Creek. All the seasons are beautiful, but fall perhaps is the best. We're right at the end of peak week. The colors are just gorgeous. You can hear in the background a leaf blower. We're getting ready for winter. Spring at Plum Creek. It unfolds gradually. First to come are the daffodils. Sometimes they get a little confused. If there's some warm weather in January, they'll start to pop out, but they slow down and finally figure out their place. Normally it's at the front of the line. You can see that we haven't had a chance to do our spring cleanup yet, but we'll do that with the daffodils. Next come the forsythias. After the daffodils, the forsythias take their turn. Bright and yellow, they're going to turn green in just a few weeks. You can see that everything else is still pretty bare. No buds or sprouts on the trees yet. And last upon the stage at Plum Creek are the azaleas. They come out at slightly different times, so we've got a good 2 weeks of the whites and the fuchsias and some reds and even a couple of pinks. So daffodils were first, forsythias were second. You can see coming up some red tips in the background there. Those are going to eventually turn to green. Dogwoods have already come and gone. They kind of snuck by us when we weren't looking. So the last major event in spring at Plum Creek are the azaleas. The canopy and the trees are starting to fill in. They've got a little bit more to go, but they're not quite as photogenic. Now I know in that last segment I said that was the end of spring, but I forgot the azaleas out by the road, so I just wanted to show those to you. Also, a bit of explanation. You're probably saying to yourself, he referred to winter, but there was no winter. And you're right, there was no winter this year. If you live in Maryland, you know that sometimes winter is a hit or miss affair. We can have a dumper with 2 or 3 feet of snow, or like this year, 2011, we barely had any snow at all, so I didn't really have anything fun to film. I can tell you that winter on Plum Creek is a great time to use the fireplace, and that Plum Creek sometimes freezes over and sometimes it doesn't, but we didn't have any winter this year, so you're just going to have to imagine what it might have looked like. So this now really is the end of our seasons section of the Plum Creek videos. Thanks for watching.